Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amir Poonawala. I'm a licensed immigration advisor for New Zealand and migration agent for Australia at G.E.M.S International. Our office is based in Auckland City of New Zealand. Yes, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button and push the bell icon so you can get regular updates about various immigration related issues and how to apply for different types of visas. Thank you. Also, please read our legal disclaimer that we have provided in the comment section of this video before you start watching this video. Right, so now in this video today, we are going to discuss a very common question that we are asked so often that I have decided that we make a video on this, so it will be easy for us to just share the link instead of repeating the information again and again to so many students. And that issue is about the cost of living, um, especially for the students who come to New Zealand. They have this burning question in their head as to what will be the cost and how are they going to survive in New Zealand, which is fair and valid, and we will cover that in this discussion today. So let us look at this topic from the perspective of a single student, and you must remember again that the cost of living will vary if you are coming here with your family, quite obviously. So in this video we are only and only looking at the various aspects of the living cost for a single student. Also, you must remember that the cost of living will again vary from city to city and suburb to suburb in a given city, because there are different types of suburbs and the rent levels are up and down. There are a lot of differences in the amount of rent and accommodation cost and depending on the suburb you are living in. So officially speaking, when an international student comes to New Zealand, uh, the cost of living that a student has to show or the funds that should be available for a student is to the tune of New Zealand dollars 15,000 per year only to cover the living cost. And obviously that comes to around $1,250 per month. Now remember, this is the minimum amount that you need to have as per the immigration department's guidelines in order for you to manage your living cost in New Zealand. But if your budget allows you, you can have more funds in your account when you come here. More than $15,000 also you can bring. It again depends from person to person. And in some instances, when it comes to the living cost, in case of some students, they might have some family or friends who are already based in New Zealand and they are willing to become sponsors for you. So you can also have a sponsor to cover your living cost in New Zealand. And again, there is a bunch of requirements as to who can and who cannot be your sponsor and all that stuff. We will not go in that direction in this video because I want to keep the discussion around only around the cost of living subject really. So coming back to the cost of living for a student in New Zealand, from our opinion, the cost of living can be divided into five different areas. So let me just brief you quickly on these five different areas and how it looks like here when you are here in New Zealand. So obviously the first and the foremost area is the actual accommodation cost, and this could include what you will have to pay for your rent. And you must remember that rent normally is paid on a weekly basis in New Zealand. Or if you have made an arrangement of boarding, boarding could mean that your accommodation cost includes power, water, internet, shared kitchen, and sometimes it could also include your 2 or 3 meals in a day. So it will all vary, I mean, depends on what you have agreed with the accommodation provider. Again, when it comes to accommodation, you must remember there are different types of accommodation, like shared accommodation, or you could be sharing a flat with somebody, or you could be having a separate room or a separate studio apartment. There could be many variations there. Or you could be living with a host family, or you could have rented your own house. Depends on your budget really. How much budget you have for this area of cost. And on an average, the cost that you should set aside for accommodation is around 150 to $250 New Zealand dollars per week for your accommodation. Like I said, this is just an approximate idea, an approximate amount that uh, we are advising you based on our market survey and information that we receive from our past students. Okay. Secondly, let's say if you are in a renting kind of an arrangement, irrespective of whether you are independent or sharing with somebody. Obviously, the second area is the cost involved in uh, preparing food, buying groceries, and all that stuff. And again, this uh, area of cost will also vary from person to person, whether you are a vegetarian, whether you are a non-vegetarian, what are your eating habits, uh, and all that stuff. So, but from experience, I can tell you that the most economical way to manage this area of cost is that you should be able to prepare your own meals. Because if you are in the habit of eating outside in restaurants, it could be a pricey thing, and it could just blow your budget. So it is always a good idea that you buy groceries. Uh, there are a lot of different Asian grocery stores here where you can get a variety of Asian groceries from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, you name it, and you will have a store that sells grocery from that part of the world. So if you can cook your meals, I'm sure you will save a lot of money here. But on an average, I would say that you must set aside around 250 to $500 per month for your food cost. Okay. So coming to the next area of cost is your transportation cost. Now, transportation, again, it will depend whether you are going to use public transport or you are wanting to have your own car or a bike. So there are various factors here. But the most economical way of commuting in any city in New Zealand is to use the public transport. And the public transport systems, whether be it the buses or the trains or these are the two major public transports that most students use. Um, and these are the most economical way of reaching any corner of the city. I mean, you would be lucky if you could reach your college at a walking distance, you know. Uh, but in some cases, you might have to catch a bus or yeah. Again, you have taxis available and Uber is there, but that's a pricey option, you know. If you have missed your bus and sometimes you have to catch a taxi or Uber, those options are also available. So roughly, I would say you must keep aside $100 to $125 a month for your transportation cost. Okay, coming to the next area of cost is your cost related to any medication. If at all you are taking some medications on a regular basis for whatever reasons, then either you bring those medications from your home country to New Zealand, or if they are available here, then you will have to set aside some appropriate amount for your medication. And also, you will need to buy your medical insurance when you are staying in New Zealand. And this is a compulsory requirement that you must have a health or medical insurance coverage for the duration of stay that you are going to stay in New Zealand. Normally, students they take at least 1 year, 1 year's coverage for health insurance, and this is very very necessary in case of any unforeseen circumstances or situation that might pop up. It's good to have this medical coverage because at the end of the day, your student visa is just a temporary visa, and it may not necessarily allow you to access publicly funded health services, you know. So you must remember that, and this is a compulsory requirement. So again, depending on the insurance provider, the cost of your medical insurance or whatever medications you are taking, it will depend on that. Roughly, I would say if you are going for a 1 year's medical insurance coverage, it should be in the range of around New Zealand dollars 1500. And in some instances, when you are getting enrolled in any institution, and if this service is available with that institution, the institution itself at the time of your enrollment may offer you to get your medical or health insurance coverage done through the institution. So you have this option either to get it done through the institution if it's available with them, or you can arrange your own medical or health insurance coverage, right? And lastly, any cost related to your entertainment, buying some new clothes, sightseeing, eating out when you're traveling. And again, this cost will also largely vary from person to person and what your habits are, or how often you go out to see movies and eat at restaurants, or many a time students they travel out of town and they see different places because there are lots of attractions in New Zealand, and obviously you will need to have some extra budget for this area depending on your taste and preferences. So on an average, I would say that you keep around 100 to $250 aside every month for this. So that way, I believe I have covered all the important areas that you will have to think about and budget uh, in advance before you come to New Zealand. And yes, the best part of being a student in New Zealand is that you will be legally allowed to work part time for a maximum of 20 hours a week. And this will give you some extra pocket money to spend or save. Choice is yours. So I believe I have given you enough idea about the cost of living for a student in New Zealand. And thank you once again for taking the time to watch our video. We hope you have found this information useful. And if you need any further information, you can reach us around the clock on our WhatsApp mobile number given in the comment section of this video. And we will get in touch with you as soon as possible. And yes, we will be back with another interesting video on various other immigration issues and how to apply for different visas. So please subscribe to our channel, push the bell icon so that you can get regular updates. And we hope that you are safe and doing well wherever you are. Until then, see you next time. Goodbye.